Hello, everyone. I have the lovely Nicole Doss here for What's Working Wednesday, and I'm going to have her introduce herself, and we're going to go over some strategies and give a little bit of her story, and hopefully you can relate and it inspires you or helps you in some type of way. So go ahead, Nicole.
Absolutely. Hello, hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Doss. I am the CEO and founder of the Prestige Society. I am the author of Rock Your Life and Tribe. I am the creator of Prestige Radio with Nicole Doss. I am mother of two, wife of one. That's all I can handle. And a jack of all trades, as well as a corporate leader on fire.
Nice,
Welcome.
nice. I love the intro. I couldn't have done that, so I'm happy that I let you do that yourself. So tell me, like, starting Prestige, was it always the idea to do it as a membership based model?
No. I'll say probably like when I turned 25, I started a business with a good girlfriend of mine, and we are forever sisters, but we cannot be business partners. Some reason she was like the wild one, I wasn't, and we were party promoters. So the one thing you learn really early on when you are a club promoter is that you cannot party anymore. Like your life as a patron in the club is over. Even
Yes.
when you go somewhere that you may potentially want to do business in, you really just have to like literally act like you're in a job interview because the owner's watching you, the
Mm,
manager's watching you. So you have to act a certain way. So at the time, my business partner didn't get the memo, but like I did, and we just were not having the same work ethic at all. And
mm-hmm.
so I'll say, towards the end, I ended up buying her out of the business, and we went from Lady Luck Entertainment to Prestige Marketing and Entertainment. And
Okay.
um, I decided to really focus on the Philadelphia area. I decided that I was going to bring in one of the DJs, DJ Alamo, to be my partner because he was one of the DJs I used early on in the promoting time. And what I started to see was that a lot of my friends were going into business with friends.
Okay.
And when I started to explore this, I'm like, what are we doing? Like we're all business women, like, within our 9 to 5. So what are we doing so wrong when we're making these business relationships outside of work that we're not bringing with us, when we are building our businesses? And I realized that women were afraid to go into business by themselves.
Mm,
And so they were picking friends to kind of go along this journey with them. And so I feel like I was one of the lucky ones where friendships weren't ruined. So,
mm,
to this day, I still have this friend, but I can tell you that I was seeing lots of friends who to this day are not friends
yeah.
because of what happened that journey. And so I'll say that was probably like 2008, 2009. So I never really ever intended on Prestige being a membership anything.
Okay.
It was supposed to be, this whole merge or this whole like transition to I don't want to be in the club anymore. I want to take my business and I want to take this whole learning and development piece of it, and I want to be able to make it an actual consulting firm. People
Oh,
pay, and when I say people, I mean companies pay high dollar for learning professionals. You can, especially if you're a technical learning professional, you can make on average $100 an hour. And
mhm.
so I decided that I'll do this, but because I feel like I'm going into uncharted territory and I don't want to make the same mistake I made before, which is bringing on a friend, I instead want to also have a support group
Mm,
of other women in my life who are go getters, who may also feel like they're in uncharted territories
mhm.
and they just need a support group to help them get this idea that they have up and running. So, Prestige Org and Development Solutions was the thing that was supposed
Mm,
to be birthed. The Prestige Networking Group was just my girlfriends on every third Saturday of the month. We were supposed
okay.
to meet. and challenge each other to get our businesses up and running. And so I think I sent out probably about 10 invitations, and 5 women total
Okay.
accepted the invitation and they became my founding members. And through that journey, what I found is that I enjoyed the work of the network far more than I enjoyed putting together the work of the consulting company.
Okay.
So once I kind of saw that was the thing, I began to focus so much more on the prestige networking group that it was no longer fun for me to think about prestige or development solutions. So that's how we started. And then that was in 2012.
Okay, so it didn't even start as a membership base. And then
No,
it went from, okay, now I want to have these women as a support group because they already are go getters. But then it turned
yeah,
into realizing, okay, this is what I actually, love about it. Having these members and, building with each other and networking. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
So, what I would say is, what do you feel like the benefit is of having like a membership, and then also just speaking of when you, told me about going that route and just discovering, okay, what is the lifetime value of having a member and, the expectancy of them to be a member for how long, can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So in about 2014, I'll say I started working with Adrienne Langford, who at the time was dubbed the Profit Girl. And she was really the one that forced me to really think about this as a viable model for my business. Um, I already was charging membership fees, but they were like laughable membership fees. I'm not ashamed what the number amount was. It was $40 a year.
Okay.
And even with the $40 a year, I had literally had founding members who were like, "You sure you gonna charge that? Like, you sure people gonna pay $40 a year? Like, look at us now." So
Right.
it's like, but when she introduced this model to me, she asked me to read a book called The Membership Economy,
Hmm.
and so in that, it talked about how one time. Um, one-time transactions are an antiquated way to look at business transactions. So in this case, I really thought about, okay, then what do I do if I'm only doing this like one-time transaction? So one-time transactions would be like merchandise, coaching, a la carte coaching. And I realized I was constantly chasing the sale. So I realized instead, if I spent dedicated time recruiting members, and
Hmm.
then also dedicated time in retaining members, then instead of me chasing a sales goal every month, I was really putting a lot of energy in retaining the people that I
Hmm.
had. And then I was able to spend time putting valuable courses together, valuable coaching one-on-one time with those folks every month. And then I could see what forecasting looks like. So every month I can expect this, not
Right.
because every month I'm trying to get this, but every month this is just already what is the reoccurring sustainable income or repeatable income for the business. So that
Hmm.
was really important to me. But then also the other piece of that is then growth strategies. So then,
Right.
we have seasons where we have recruiting season. So recruiting season then is our growth time. We're like, okay, how many people have we retained? How many people are we going to try to bring on? And so therefore, that's how we gauge when it's time for us to really focus on retention and time for us to focus on. When you are looking at one-time transactions, unfortunately, what you're doing is you're always looking at growth because you're trying to
Right.
capture the sales every month. You're trying to repeat whatever success you had in the previous month.
Hmm.
And then you're trying to say, then how do I scale up every
Right.
month from that? So I didn't have the energy or the employees to be able to put that kind of energy in there. So for
Mm.
me, it really made more sense for me to look at this model as a viable model for my business. But I will say this, I push this model hard on a lot of people, but I
Hmm.
really believe that it takes two things. One, you have to love what you do and have enough subject matter expert information, expertise, background, history,
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, content to be able to build something that can be a repeatable experience that people are willing to pay for on a monthly
Yes.
basis. Or you have to provide a service on a monthly basis that will keep people coming back for more.
Right.
And if you don't have the energy to put in those things, then unfortunately, those who are paying are not going to see the value in the price tag that you
Mm-hmm.
put out there. So if it's a give and take, and I do understand that everyone, so there's two kinds of people out there, right? You
Right.
have the boss who says, I have the content, the services, the abilities, but do not have the time or the desire to do this. Or I have the desire, but I just can't think of how to keep people interested every month, month in,
Yes.
month out. So those are probably the two different scenarios that people who are looking at this kind of model kind of think about. For us, we saw that our retention was 5 years on the
Mm.
like our average person stays with us for 5 years. So imagine for 5 years, you know that you're getting this
Yes.
one customer's, amount every month. Part of it was we had a great price point at the time. So who we keep for 5 years are probably the people who first came on with $24.99 a month. When you start when people start coming in because those prices are no longer the prices, we have higher prices now. Sometimes you have to make a decision. Well, do you pay your cell phone bill or do you pay your prestige dues? So,
Yeah.
we do look at the data to say, who are the people that are staying for 5 years? Can someone sustain this for 5 years? And our goal is really to give you the information or the services that you may need so that your business is generating enough money where our dues are just part of the thing. It's
Right.
just, listen, this is what I make anyway from being part of this organization. So this is why the dues are valuable to us. Our goal in 2021 or 2020 really was to extend that from
Mm-hmm.
5 years to 10 years. So we really had a lot of great things in mind. The pandemic kind of took over, but it didn't stop us, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of back into, all right, here we go. Let's hit the ground
Okay.
going and try to make sure that we continue our services.
Okay, and I realized, so you said something that was key, right? You said you have the time where you focus on recruitment, right? So you're not
Mhm.
just always in that phase. So you take the time to, okay, plan out your yearly, your quarterly goals. So you know, okay, this quarter I'm going to focus on recruiting, and then further on it's going to be the value of, how you do the Boss Academy and so forth and so on. So you're providing that value, but you're focused on, multiple different things, but at a specific time,
Yeah,
right? So
that's really
that's
important.
key.
Yeah, that's really important for me. I always say to people, because also too, I'm a creator of content. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's always a book in me. There's always a new planner in me. There
Right.
are always podcast episodes. I mean, there's so many. And the thing is that I love to create. So it's not one of those things where I feel like I have to create because of my business. It's one of those things that truly give me joy. So because I love doing these things, it's
Mm-hmm.
not something I very easily go, oh, I'll outsource that because it's something I love to do. There's always a t-shirt line that I want to
Right.
create and push out. So there's just always these things that I love to do. So when that happens, I have to put all of my efforts into a right season. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I always equate that to is I say to people, imagine, so I have a pool, and one of the things I love to do in the summertime is like just lay on my back float and just say, in this moment, I am blessed.
Right.
So I look up to the sky and I just feel the sun shining on me. And I say to people, imagine I'm in this pool, I'm looking up at the sun, and I'm saying, in this moment, I am blessed. And out of nowhere, clouds begin to form and snow begins to fall.
Mm.
And instead of feeling nice, hot, beautiful sun
Right.
rays all over my body in the pool, I'm straight like thinking I'm about to catch pneumonia because it's snowing.
Yeah.
You would probably think it's the end of the world because I know that's what I would think.
Right.
And if we think that the mixture or mixing of seasons is something that is off kilter, something that is an indication that something is not right with the world, then why do we constantly put ourselves in a position where we're mixing our own seasons? So if
Mm.
it's a season for refresh and renew, why are you steady trying to grind, 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 and hustle? If
Right.
it's a time for you to be able to push, why are you sitting there stuck because you don't know what to do? So
Mm.
I think you have to really understand and respect the season that your business is in, the season that you are in, mind, body, and spirit, the
Right.
season that your family is in, because that's going to really help determine where you should put your focus. If
Right.
all you keep doing is looking at a timeline, seeing what your peers are doing out here in these awesome boss streets, and
Right.
then that is the indication of where you need to be, you're always going to feel like you're going against the grain. So
Hmm.
definitely identifying and respecting seasons in my business is really important. So that also was a driver of, when is a recruiting season for us? When is it just time where we just develop our own within? When is it time for me to kind of sit back and let my leaders kind of lead, and I
Right.
need to kind of focus on things for prestige? So it's always about seasons. And I always do this probably like around December time for the
Hmm.
next year, and
Okay.
then place things in quarters and then push things out. But here's the thing, life happens. Life
Life
happens.
does happen for sure.
Opportunities pop up, like obstacles come up. So also I'm very, very agile as well, because I understand that, listen, God reigns. And so if he says that this is not happening at this time, even though I put this in my planner that this was going to happen,
Yes.
I respect the fact that God said, no, no, boo, it's not supposed to happen yet. So, although I try to plan, and I really try to encourage those that I work with to plan, the reality is that agility is going to be really important too, as you're
Hmm.
trying to map out what seasons you want to be able to do for your life. Q3, I was supposed to start a nonprofit, a
Mm.
501c3. So now I'm just like, for the stuff I need to do that I didn't get a chance to
Right.
knock out a couple of months ago. So I need to go ahead and reset. So yeah, set seasons, but also be agile enough to know that you have to be able to flex when you need to.
I heard you speak about something that's important about leadership. So can you speak about, noticing the need to have leadership in your chapters?
Yeah, absolutely. I realize I can't do this all on my own. So having leaders is really important. So we have presidents and vice presidents of chapters, as well as a community service chair and co-chair now. So
Hmm.
these individuals, these ladies are really great. And so they're the ones that have done things like held gift exchanges to help the
Mm.
women feel more love and camaraderie, especially during the pandemic.
Right.
And so, they've even taught classes. So they were part of our back to school series. So if you're building a business and you want to scale up and you feel like you're in a space where you really want to grow, especially if it offers services, look at how do you take your tribe and get them
Mm.
involved in the leadership space, because it really does help with one, membership, because they
Yeah.
feel like they're being poured into as well, and they feel like they're being developed as well. And also, too, it allows your members to see that there's growth within your organization too, so that they don't just have to be on one side of it, on the one side of the table. We do leadership
Yes.
retreats. Well, we did
Mm.
it pre-pandemic, and they
Yeah.
see other opportunities to work as business partners in the actual organization as well. So, for my leaders out there, my prestige leaders, love
Yes.
y'all. Mwah.
I love it. I love it. So, you have leaders, you have all these different chapters. So, can you talk about, like, I know you are like the queen of these different apps, right? So, to have this process and to make it simple, you got to have like the coaching lobby, you have your email marketing. So, can you talk about some of the apps and automating your services so it can be a little bit more easier than doing it manually?
Yeah, so I used to do everything myself, like created coaching pages and would
Mm.
put updates in each page within my website. But I realized I needed something that gave me a dashboard of all of my clients. So
Yes.
I use Coaching Lobby, there's Coaching Loft, which is
Mm.
like if you have a smaller clientele, I have too many coaching clients to use coaching
Yeah.
lofts. It's a very expensive thing. But if you have if you're just getting started out and you have a smaller group of clients, this is something that's super snazzy. You may want to look
Mm,
into. Also, using email marketing is really important because it automates messages. Using some kind of scheduler as well is really important because that allows the automation of my clients being able to schedule time with me, and having all of your calendars integrated is really
mm,
important because I have a very full calendar. And I have to set rules with my calendar to ensure that I do not get overbooked.
right.
So apps for even my community. So using things like Mighty Networks, I had to
Mm,
take our community off of Facebook groups and bring it over to Mighty Networks, which was created by a woman, by the way.
hey.
Um, yes. So, using apps, using or leveraging technology to
Mm,
streamline processes for me is really important, even down to how people are able to pay for your
yes.
services or pay for membership. So those are things that are definitely really important. If you find that you're spending so much time manually putting things together or
Mm,
manually doing the work, definitely that's when you need to start looking at how do you streamline your business. And there's people out there who help you do that. Davita Garfield is one person that comes to
okay.
mind, where she is the automation queen. That is actually her tagline, because she's the one that is really into systems and how do you actually automate your business so that you are spending less time doing the work, but
Right.
most of your time doing the actual gift, the craft that you were
Yes.
meant to do for your business.
I love it because it's like you can pretend that you're busy doing all this stuff, but are you doing income producing activities or taking up
Hmm.
that time doing all of these different things that you have to have? Of course, your workflow has to be in order, but if you're spending so much time on it, how are you doing the income producing activities?
That's right.
And speaking of, like how you said, the calendar, right? How important it is. So not only are you, the founder of the Prestige Society, along with the other different, structures that you've built to work along it. You also
Hmm.
are working full time and a mother as well. So, between working full time, running Prestige and all the different structures, and,
Hmm.
your day to day personal life, can you speak to how are you kind of like using that strategically, balancing that out, or is it balanced at all?
No. I would
No.
say it's not balanced. I will say that it is beautifully all intertwined.
Okay.
Because too, like, I mean, granted, I'm not just my business, right? I'm a mom.
Right.
I am a wife. I'm a friend. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. Like, there's so many other, and I'm a social butterfly at heart. So
Yeah.
I am someone who loves my personal tribe. And
Mm.
so to be present for them is important for me. Like last night, I was so exhausted. I literally drove to my girlfriend's house. I thought I was going to sit there and chat with her. I sat there and fell asleep. Like, I just, hey, because her house is like my second, third, fourth home. So,
Yes.
I will say for sure that, like, I wouldn't say it's balanced, but I
Mm-hmm.
will say that it's all beautifully intertwined.
Okay.
Because for me, you have to have a village that supports you in all that you do. And that's the only way you're really able to be successful. And if anyone puts themselves in a cocoon where they say, like, no, I'll be successful on my own, I don't need anyone. There's someone that's really fooling themselves because no
Mm.
one can do anything on their own by themselves.
Right. Right. 100%. I totally agree. So, has
Absolutely.
ever, the thought of, leaving your full time position and focusing
Mhm.
100% on, you know, working on prestige, has that ever, came to your mind, and the thoughts about leaving? Is it a struggle? How do you feel about that?
It's so funny. We talk about job shaming, and I can't remember the first person who, maybe it was Fila, but one of my friends was talking about um, job shaming, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember the statement she used was, "No job shaming here, boo." And it was the first time that whole thing was like really introduced to me.
Mhm.
And, I look at what I do in the industry that I'm in, and I have lots of thoughts on it. So I'm going to try to be very politically correct. I'm
Mhm.
probably going to start off being very politically correct, and then I'm just going to throw that out the window and just be very transparent. So there's a lot of
Yes.
people who do the work that I do, and they don't do it out of a heart of feeling like they're doing God's work and trying to be purposeful in it. They're
Mm.
doing it understanding that they are working a business model that is extremely lucrative. And
Mm.
so, what that means is that it can be at the consumer's expense. When you think of sales funnels, that is like not nothing new. So when you pay
Right.
in $2,000 to sit in somebody's class about a sales funnel, you could have YouTube that. There's people where there's classes that teach you how to create your course, and they teach you could make six figures making courses. Yes, you can, but the reality is like, but what's the other piece of your business model?
Right.
What positions you in the first place to be the resource for people to go to in order for you to even generate the six figures? And are you
Right.
generating six figures just because you set the price so high that only a few people can get it? Or were
Mm.
you like the six-figure chick, rest in peace, Boo,
Yes.
where you were able to make seven figures off of $40 content? So,
Right.
there's a lot of people in my industry who exploit the industry, who exploit
Mm.
the models that we were all taught of how to make money. And then there's others out there that just know how to do the darn thing, and they are
Right.
so successful at it. So when you don't know this at first and you're just kind of in it, because remember, we started in 2012, so it wasn't a lot of people like us, like the
Yeah.
Prestige Society out, but coaching was like a thing. Everybody was wanting to get their coaching certification, and there was this desire to be very successful and to be able to leave your job so that you can have this level
Mm.
of success. And so I wanted that at some time. And I left my job the first time in 2014.
Mhm.
15. Taylor
15.
was already born. So in 2015, I left my job, and I want to say it was October of 2015 or like September 2015. And so when I made the leap, I really wasn't ready. Like, I did not have first of all, I didn't have my first book out.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything like at all. Any of the systems that were in place, I did not have it at all. So, um, and my husband, I didn't really give him fair warning. I kind of woke up and was like, and I'm out. Like, they tripping and I ain't tripping. So I'm out of here. And then I remember I got up and he was like, hey, what you doing home? And I was like, what you doing home? PTO? I'm like, I don't want PTO forever. So, when I made that leap, it wasn't the right one. So when I went back to work, I felt this really heavy burden of like shame, like,
Mm.
oh, I'm such a failure. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Like, you couldn't make it work. You couldn't figure it out. But number one, I will say this. I no longer have that feeling at all.
Mm.
I will say that I have been very grateful for the opportunities that I've had in the positions that I've had, because
Yes.
I've sat at tables that a lot of people who I serve in my business haven't had the opportunity to sit at the same tables that I've
Yes.
sat at. So I am able to have conversations with executives and be a part of a lot of operation decisions that,
Yes.
as an entrepreneur, you will want those gems. And
Mhm.
so, and it's not gems that I'm just coming up with because of my own experience doing my own business. It's gems that were actually like done and experienced through helping a multi-billion-dollar family owned company. So when you're
Mhm.
able to kind of take those experiences, and for me, I take those experiences and I pour it back into my community.
Yes.
That's kind of what taught me to not be so hard on myself. And there's things I want to still accomplish through my career in my
Yes.
profession. So, having those ambitions helped me realize that there was no need for me to be as hard on myself as I had been in the past. And, it's funny because even there are some people who will be like, well, that may think like, well, if she can't do the business, and allow that to just be everything, then then she is a failure. That's okay, because then that just means I'm not for you, and that
Right.
means you about to miss out on some gems. So
Exactly. Exactly.
and I think that and yeah, and I had to get okay with that. And I am, and I remember just recently. I know you can't tell by the mop on my head, but I do have a very beloved hairdresser, and so my stylist was saying, like, you know what, she's been an entrepreneur her entire life. She
Hmm.
has had, she's successful. She's a serial entrepreneur, but she loves picking my brain. And she's like, Nicole, 'cause I never worked in corporate America. So when I
Right.
hear the things that you say, I hear, when you talk about the things that you're going through, she was like, I love hearing that stuff, because now it gives me ideas of what I need to think about for my business. So I think that, for me, it allows me to bring just more insight, more value to the business that I have. I
Yes.
will say this though, for those who are trying to figure out how do you run your business, and how do you still work your 9 to 5, I will say use your 9 to 5. And people say use it as an investor. That's the easy part, right? Like
Right.
taking money and putting it into your business, that's fine. But more than that, like use your time on professional development. Use your time in understanding who you are as a leader. Use your
Right.
time as an employee to even climb the ranks to being a leader, especially if
Right.
you're a female, especially if you're a woman of color. Like, please, like, use that time to change a landscape where you are. So you'll do two things. You will be able to be in spaces that maybe people who look like you are not in. But more
Right.
importantly, you are going to have a different perspective of how to run your business. As an employee and an employee only, you only understand how to take a task and do the
Right.
task. As a lead or a supervisor, you know how to monitor the tasks or
Hmm.
monitor the work of people doing the tasks. As a manager and as a director, now you're responsible for the strategy and the vision of
Right.
what needs to get done and what the big picture is, and then all the tasks that it takes to get it done so that you can push the work out. And then when you get to a VP level, now you're understanding the importance of operational income, P&Ls, and
Right.
how do you allow your organization as an entrepreneur thrive financially. So, take the time to not just say, I work this job. Take
Right.
this time to say, if you are working a 9 to 5 while you're running your business and you're interested in one day leaving and doing this full time, take full advantage of that 9 to 5. Take full advantage of figuring out what does it take to run your department. Treat your department like it is an actual entrepreneur venture that you're going after,
Right.
because that's going to give you a different lens that you may not have if you're literally just kind of doing the everyday grind and then kind of investing in your business.
Right. So it's not only you get to bring info back to other people, right? You also get to learn these
Mm-hmm.
different strategies, see what you can apply to your business for yourself. And then, like you said, an investment piece as well, right? So it's nothing to feel shame about, right? Or let someone else brings shame onto you, because this is the level that you're at, this is your path. I know it's a lot of entrepreneurs over here saying, come do it this way, come do it this way, but you have to do what's right for you. And I love that you got the comfort that you needed, the confidence that you needed to stay within your path and work it. And, like you said, you have a mentor and all these different things. Now you get to even improve your own business, bring the value, bring the gem. So I
Yeah.
totally love it. And one last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is your recent experience becoming a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, right? And how that plays a part of, bringing back right info and building others up and being there for, communities. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, I won't speak on behalf of the organization because there's only one person who does that, and that's the CEO and the president of the
Right.
organization, Beverly Smith. But I will say that for speaking of my journey and even the decision to do this, and it was a journey. I will say that I was so used to building platforms for other women. Platforms women felt like they were around people that could help them, help lift them up. But for me, my like even like think about like my line sisters, like I'm talking like a municipal judge, a project manager responsible for putting the first Black woman on the moon,
Mm,
and looking into the colonization of the moon by 2050. I was like, somebody tell me how old I'm gonna be because I don't want to be there. I don't want to be on the moon. Um, I'm talking, women who are senior VPs within HR, handling reorganizations. Like it
yes.
was I mean, I'm talking like 27-year-olds who bought themselves nonprofits at the age
Woo.
of 25 to go to Cuba to help feed those who were impacted in rural areas. I mean,
Wow.
really, really um, being around women who are just are absolutely amazing, but then also see the need for you not to just continue to develop through the organization, because it's all about public service. It's all about how do you become developed as a leader and constantly give back. But how do we support one another in that? So even just now, when I said to you, like, hey, do you know someone who has a social justice movement organization? It was because I'd gotten an email through the organization about this fellowship. So it's not just about getting information and keeping it for ourselves. It's about how do you get information and give tools to those individuals who within the organization or in the community that you can actually push forward. So for me, it's about just, and my mom's a Delta too. So it's all about being a
Okay.
legacy,
Yes.
continuing to build a legacy, being among women who are exemplary in all that they do. And then how do we bring that back? How do you constantly bring that back? So whether it's the knowledge, whether it's information, whether it's opportunities, how do you build that back? And for me, my big thing is also looking to see how do I use my talents and my gifts around closing the gap for
Yes.
women entrepreneurs, because the first advocacy for prestige was stop going into business with your friends, you can do this by yourself. But then of
Mm,
course that transitioned into we need to close the earning gap of female
yes.
minority business owners. And so knowing that economic development is one of the programmatic thrusts for the organization, that's something that really, really kind of sparked my interest. And so
Mm,
learning how to better support a community through those programmatic thrusts just allows me to be able to be a better resource for my members of the Prestige Society, so that as I get access to that information, as I learn more, as I learn about more opportunities, I'm able to bring that back to the community as well. So I am beyond excited for that
yes.
journey. And I really am excited to do great things and great work in the community through this organization as well.
I love it. And I love everything that you stand for, especially, like you said, the economic development is like the key. And I look forward to, seeing you bring that to life and being a part of, like I told you, bridging that gap because it's important to me as well. So, one
Yeah.
last thing that I want to ask you, and then we're going to do a this or that, is can you give
Okay.
one secret to running a business, something that maybe you wouldn't think about like sharing all the time, but it just one little secret.
I share everything. So when you said, I was like, what do I not share? Um, one secret: professionalism at
Okay.
all times.
I
I want
like
to change
that.
my answer. I want to change it so bad. But
Okay,
I'm
well,
gonna
we'll
we
change
gonna we
it.
gonna
Change it. Change it.
we gonna
One,
we gonna
because we
we're gonna
need
stick with
some.
professionalism.
Okay,
We're gonna
stick
stick
with
with, and I'll tell you
professionalism.
why.
Okay, tell me
And
why.
it'll lead to what I really wanted to say.
Okay.
Professionalism for me, because what I want you to realize, and not you, but like you, people out there in the world,
Yes.
is that you are not entitled to anyone's dollar,
Mm,
cent, dime. You are not entitled. Because you had an idea and you decided to register your business, you are not entitled. The
right.
reality is that your customers go to work every day, and
Right.
they decide how they want to spend their coins. So it is up to you as the owner of your business to create an experience, to create a professional experience
Mm,
from end to end for your customer, because you are lucky enough to have
yes.
them to spend their coins with you. And if you are not in a membership economy model, and if you are in a one-time transactional model, you better pray that you are lucky enough for them to spend their coins with you again.
Right.
So professionalism is key. See way too much out there about, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women in business, who have this sense of entitlement about their customers and how their customers spend the money. The reality is, yes, it sucks when people ask for discounts.
Right.
Educate your customer on why the discount is not appropriate. To have an
Exactly.
attitude and get upset about it just shows your lack of professionalism and the lack
Right.
of maturity in the field and in the business. So
Yes.
I will say that if you are not sure of what professionalism looks like, then take some courses or some classes on YouTube. Google
Right.
is free, YouTube is free. But and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it's one of those things where if you lack professionalism, 9 times out of 10, you're probably still working. So do some professional development at your job as well, so that you can understand what that looks like. Customer experience is everything. I will
Yes.
not say that any of my members or my clients feel that they've had a poor membership experience with me. I feel
Nope.
like all of my members feel that they are, or that I am their business's best friend or their business's auntie, because I really truly operate my business out of love.
Right.
So even if we're in a predicament where my customers or my members may feel like there's something that doesn't feel good, meaning there
Mm-hmm.
may be some kind of turmoil, we talk about it,
Right.
right? Because sometimes when you coach, people don't like what you got to say about the coaching experience, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but and it's few and far in between. I can't even say, if I looked at 80/20, I would say maybe 10%
Right.
one, like, as that's not even like the normal thing for me. So I can't really even talk a lot about turmoil or obstacles, because I really haven't had a lot of those in my experience in running my business. So I would say, you have to understand that you are in a business of people,
Right.
learning relationships. Because even if you are having something that may be an issue, then guess what? If you know how to deal with it, it doesn't even feel like an issue.
Right.
It's literally a conversation. So look at customer service as a way to build an experience for your people. Look for a way for you to figure out how to enhance the experience. And if you feel like there's too much on your plate, which is normally my life, then figure out a way to outsource it, because the reality is there's only one of you. And if anything happens to you,
100%.
nothing's going to happen with your business, because something, meaning if you get sick or if you kirk out because of the fact that you're just doing too much, it's you're not going to be any good to you or your business. So
Right.
definitely professionalism, self-care, don't be entitled. One secret was to ask, I gave you 5,000. That's also my life.
Well, now look. Now
I'm so
they
sorry,
gotta.
Sam.
No, I love it. I think you hit a couple of important points. So I'm gonna end it off
Thank
with the
you.
little this or that. Okay,
Okay, I'm just
you
saying
ready?
this or that. I got you. I think
Okay,
so.
you
I'm
got
sorry,
this.
people. I'm sorry, people.
You got this. I
I'm
trust
ready.
you with this. Okay,
Okay, I'm ready.
audio book or a physical book?
Physical book,
Okay, one one to one or digital offerings?
digital offerings.
Okay, are you a night owl or an early bird?
Neither.
Neither. Is it a mixture? Okay.
Can't stay in the morning and I can't stay up late. Catch me in the afternoon, I'm good. This or that, y'all. I'm not following the rules, but neither.
Neither. respect that. I have to respect the transparency. Okay, so posting daily or weekly? Did you say weekly? Because I didn't hear it. It looked
Weekly. Weekly.
okay. There we go. Gotcha. Okay. Short form or long form content?
Oh, short form.
Short form. Okay. So just want to see where you at with a couple of things. Nonetheless, thank you very much for being a part of What's Working Wednesdays. It's been a pleasure, and I know they got at least 10 gems out this conversation.
For free. They better go run you some money for this one.
No, it's all right. They can have it. See, this is me. This is
That's
my
right.
value that I'm providing for
That's
the fruit.
right.
Yes, ma'am. So
Awesome.
I know membership is closed as of now, but let us know if you have any
Yes.
offerings, how we can find you.
Well, May 20th, we are doing a Bus Up Happy Hour. So if you're interested in that, it is free 99. This is a way for me, because like I said, I just got from my journey of crossing with
Yes.
Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated. And so I've been out for a little bit. So what I have been seeing is that women have been doing awesome things. So I wanted to take this moment to have a mocktail. I'm allergic to alcohol now, so that's a whole nother story. But y'all bring y'all cocktails and a little bit of appetizers, and I want to chat it up and hear all about what you guys are doing, how awesome you're doing, because I'm seeing people opening actual storefronts. I'm
Mm,
seeing all these great businesses starting, and I want to hear about it and celebrate it along with my sisters in Prestige. And I also want to talk about how do we support you? Where do we
okay.
come to buy from your store? What link do we need to hit to go and support you right there while we're in the actual happy hour? So it's a little bit of like a instant pop-up shop. It's a little bit
Okay.
of a share, a little bit of celebration. Anything goes. I'm not a stickler for like following things by the book.
Yes.
Wherever the spirit moves me is where we going. But
Okay.
it's just a way for me just to say, hey, tribe, I'm back. I want to celebrate y'all. And
Right.
I'm super excited for it. So the links in my bio on Instagram. So at
Okay.
the official Nicole Doss, and feel free to register for that free event and follow us because
Yes.
membership is opening in June. And so I want to say maybe July, we're actually going to start the Boss Academy. And
Okay.
that is a 12-week cohort for all of our new members. So we did not get started with your cohort,
Right.
Sam, but no worries, because we
Yeah,
are patient
I'm
with our little
I'm
journey.
not tripping.
But
I
we
know
will
I'm gonna
bring
get my whole
all,
life. I already
and
know.
we're gonna bring everybody on from the first cohort and bring you guys over to this one and just have it as one big cohort. So we're super excited about that because Boss Academy is my baby. So super excited.
All right. Well, as I said, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And that was
Thank
What's
you.
Working Wednesdays. Peace.